There will never be a perfect moment, a perfect day, a perfect time, an ideal situation in which to finally say the truth, which is I was sexually abused since I was 5. But let me try. I was essayed at preschool, at a school, at a public school to be exact. I am so against public school. This is just one of the many reasons. But two instances that have really intensely happened in public schools. The first one was when I was in preschool, and another kid essayed me while we were sitting there in the middle of the classroom, having a movie time. You know, when the TV teacher rolled the TV and she just fucking sat in the back. I remember the teacher's face. I remember her fucking fake ass wig. Jefferson Elementary School. I remember vividly all the things that happened. That's how it started. I started at 5. That was my first instance. After that, it was children, men of all ages. It happened again when I was probably 7 or 8. Another child essay situation with a cousin. This was a cousin. Cousin. I laugh because it's absurd. You know, around that age, I started understanding with playing cops and robbers, playing hide and seek with the other kids, boys and girls. It became very apparent to me that boys, and obviously bigger boys, would have physical control over me. They would pin me down on the floor and try to like get on me. It was very strange to me, but I would always try to fight. There was a time when I was probably between 5 and 6. There was another man that would come close to our home. He was a family friend. He was an old man, Don Pancho, who would, you know, just pop in and say hi because he was an old man and didn't have much to do. But he would always kiss me in the mouth and like really enjoyed it and would try to tongue it. And it was just kind of like, that was the only time I did tell my mom about that one, not about any of the other two. But, you know, it was always something like that, something weird, something fishy. When I was very young, between probably ages 3 and 5, my father was a huge alcoholic. And he was the alcoholic who would invite all the friends over. All the people from the rancho would have carne asadas and, you know, all this food that the submissive wife had to make sure to have ready and prepare for him. For him and his friends to literally have piles of cans at the end of the night that would go sell because of how much alcohol was being, would also be in those circles of very drunk men, you know, kind of passing myself or them passing me around like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? And I was always like, hey, the what's up, guys type of girl. What was everybody doing? And, you know, they would kind of all sit me in their lap as per usual. And my father never really protected me. It was just kind of like, whatever. Here's some food. Here's some money. Here's some chips. And it was always like a kiss and a little, you know, grab and hold. I was always getting physically touched by men and kids since I was very little. And then came the part of the abuse of my life that really, I think out of all of it, messed with me the most, which was having my own blood sibling. Also pin me on the ground, also grope me, also attempt to penetrate me. And then we all know the middle school, you know, sex ed, when they have that conversation, and then at the end they little squeeze a little, and if anything, you know, has happened to you, which someone has abused you or put their body or touched you inappropriately, you know, come talk to us, like, we're here. And, you know, my little unprepared wanting support person at that time said, hey, so this happened to me. On top of that part, him and his best friend, his childhood best friend, would have this habit for many years of watching me through the window of the bathroom while I showered. This happened for many years. And then when I finally said something about it, It was put under the rug by my family. He was kind of not given any real consequences. Although the police came to my house, I had to open the door and they made me tell my parents what had happened. And of course, the first thing my mom says, like, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you come and tell me? Why did you tell the police? Why did you tell the school? Now we're in big problems, right? And then when the neighbors asked, why was the police at your house? Oh, of course, the first response of the gaslighting enabling mother was, oh, it was VD. She got into trouble at school. You know how VD is, right? Because being the middle child, being the child who spoke up and said what she felt and said what she thought, you know, I was always in a VD again. Ugh, her and her feelings again. Ugh, she's getting emotional again. Ugh, she's, you know, that. All my life. Reminded how they perceived me as being too much, and they didn't know what to do with all of me, right? And I think that's when my life really took a turn. That's when I became suicidal, when I had suicidal ideation, because it's like, whoa, how can somebody, obviously I didn't have the verbiage for it back then, like, but how can they fucking gaslight me like this? Like, why are they not supporting me and just looking the other way, right? I will say they did force me to do the therapy that apparently a judge had requested I take, and that was kind of their solution of what I needed, right? Which I will say that was the first time that this crazy lady at the time talked to me about God and spirituality, and here I am a billion years later into spirituality and loving God. But anyhow, the biggest thing I will say is when you have been taken advantage by a person who you deeply trusted, who you said, hey, I trust you and I know you're not going to hurt me, it's one of those things that stays with you forever. I've said many times, my body was used against me because I never had the ability to be in control of my body, because everybody else was all up in my body before I even knew what the hell my body was, before I even had a chance to be connected to myself. Now, mind you, I've always been a very spiritual baby girl, and since I was 5, I was talking to God like, yo, who are these people? Why did you drop me off in this house? And, you know, my little prayers at 5 years old, I was like, God, like, clearly what they're doing here in this house is not okay. And I forgive you because I know you're a forgiving God and I'm a forgiving God follower. So I'll forgive you. Just wrap it up. Go ahead and pick me up. Take me to the right house, because I know these aren't my parents. This is not my family. My family doesn't love me. Mind you, I was like 5 years old when I was processing this. I was like, this isn't my family, and I know you messed up, so just fix it, and we'll be cool, right? We'll be cool, God. Like, I got you. It's okay. Like, I bet you just got a bunch of kids. You don't know where to put them, and you kind of just, like, you know, messed up. And then that moment never came. I was stuck with this family, right? My mental self. But that, having my body be taken advantage of in that way for so many years, in such subtle ways, in such deceptive ways, by people in spaces and people that you trusted, it does stay with you. And like I said, I've taken myself to many churches, over 10 years of so many different therapy, tried so many different modalities of healing and read so many books, and I have been up and down for the past 10 years just trying to, like, how do I heal? How do I take it off? And always talking to God about it. That's what me and God, my homies and my ancestors, we close. For so long it was like, why doesn't my family love me? Why would they abuse me? Like, and obviously family is where you're supposed to feel safe. My blood relative, who I confronted about this, and I will say at a wrong time, when they were viciously drunk and having a drunken explosive moment and trying to hurt other people. Let me take that back. Hurting other people and threatening to hurt other people. I went up to this individual and I was like, yo, so this is interesting, right? I keep hearing you say, I've been hearing you for hours talk about how you're gonna kill somebody who hurts your family. How, oh, you motherfucker better not kill me. Oh, you better not hurt my mom, or you better not hurt my sister. Oh, you better. Yo, so what happens when it's you doing the harm, yo? What about you? What happens? Who keeps that person accountable? And the individual tried to, bullshit me, and I was like, I was just wondering if you have taught your children to make sure that they don't abuse each other as siblings, so that that story doesn't repeat again and that pain doesn't repeat again. And let me tell you that when I confronted this person, and remember, alcohol are spirits for a reason, I saw the spirit literally flip in his fucking eyes. And I literally saw how the devil just fucking right in my fucking face just came and was like, oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me feel guilty for the past, but I'm not gonna let you. It's your fault. You can't sit here and blame the past for fucking up your life, for not doing good in your life. And I was like, oh, that's what you believe. And that I should stop blaming what happened and just move on. Cool. That's cool. That's all I wanted to know. The individual was trying to get physically in my face and hurt me, like intimidate me, so I would back down. But I did not, and I will say there was an angel present who, out of everybody in my blood family, nobody could stand up for me, and nobody did, but this individual did, and forever I will be grateful to him. He knows who he is. God bless you, sir, wherever you are. But he stood in the middle and he said, hey, nah, bro. You don't talk to your sister like that. You back it up. Back it up. Why are you so close to her? And so I share this because not only is it April, the awareness month for SA survivors, but I share this with the point of people who hurt you do not get to tell you how you heal. If there's one thing that I want people who have been in the situation to understand, is that the world will try to force forgiveness on you. You have to forgive this. You have to forgive that. You don't have to anything. Nobody gets to dictate how you get to heal what happened to you. And everybody will have their perspective. Everybody will have their say. So many people in the family had their say. And my say is my peace matters more than anybody, because clearly my entire life, my peace, my sanity was not a priority. I am aware enough, I am cognizant to accept that I come from a very traumatic lineage, and it clearly was me that was going to change that for myself and my children, because I could not expect my family to be able to keep me or my family safe. The time that I did go back home to try to live with my mother, I started seeing how she was slowly starting to, that generational trauma was starting to trickle down into my children. And I said, no, I had to make at some point such a strong decision to say, I do not want my children to have to carry all the shit that I had to carry for so many years. So I had to make the really hard decision to give up one of my kids to their father, because I did not want them to be subjected to the ridiculous generational trauma and abuse that seems very subtle. That's like, no, it's not. But once you've, dabbled with psychology, sociology, spirituality, child development, education. When you just fucking read books and you fucking learn, at some point you come to understand like some certain behavior is not okay, and there are adults who know how to be around children and take care of children and center their life around their children. And then there are adults who expect the children to just live their life for them, if that makes sense. Like, you're just gonna do the authoritarian way type of deal, you know? Like, you follow me because I so, and that's it. This is blind obedience that they request out of you, right? And so, all this to say, I, like I said, I've done so much work where it's, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy to say, but it does make me weird. It does make me a little weird. Weird in the sense that, like, I see the lens, I have vision for things that most people who don't go through these experiences like would not have. So how come, so why would we as survivors, people who have gone through this, people who have been overcomers, who are life thrivers and are here still trying their fucking best to just live a peaceful, genuine, good, healthy fucking life, you can't sit here and just take advice from any low Joe down the street, you know what I mean? And even people with the best intentions who think they know what the hell they're talking about. You just gotta be very careful who you listen to and who you take, you know, advice from, because the majority of people do not have the psychological understanding, the spiritual understanding, the emotional maturity to have a, you know, a conversation about it. Or even to just talk about it. Like, when those things have happened to you, it's so hard. Like, again, I've gone through so many years of so much internal work. And yeah, like I said, I have a lot of peace in my life, and I'm very grateful because I've worked so hard for that peace. And if something did not came into my life and promised peace but did not give it to me, I'm sorry, but I don't work like that. I don't play about my peace, because for years my mind was just so flipped that like I said, I didn't know. Like, people used my body because they wanted it. And I was like, oh, sure, okay, like, I guess, you know. Later in life, I came to understand that that came a lot with just the generational trauma that I came from. Later, I also came to find out that I was a product of a vicious drunken, a vicious drunken. And so, yeah, man, it's okay. It's okay if you're a little freaking weird after after these types of shits have happened to you. Like, it's crazy how the world tries to humble you and you have to forgive you. Just healing looks like this. Oh, you know, everybody in whatever fucking box they're trying to put you in. And honestly, listen to your heart. Listen to that little girl or that little boy who clearly was not listened to. Like I said, to me, the biggest thing that, like, I could not, as a child, I'm an adult now, but when I look at the child aspect of who I was and how I was raised, from when I was a child to when I was an adult, even as an adult, this was done to me. And the times where I was in massive despair and literally in my room crying, just bawling out, both my parents in different occasions would come into my room, would come into the space that I would have eye to eye contact with me, and would literally see me crying, distraught, in despair, on the floor or on my bed. And they would just go in, look at me, and walk out. Out of all the damage that, as a child, I had to take in, that was the most damaging. That, like, how can your parents do that to you? Like, what the fuck? So I definitely was raised with an internal compass of, my family doesn't love me, I don't belong here. Now, again, because I'm always talking to God, because God is my best friend, I'm okay now. That these things stay with you, yeah. This is why people develop, complex post-traumatic stress. It's not, like I said, it's not as bad as it used to be when I didn't say anything about it, when I kept it quiet, when I shut myself off, when I tried to assimilate into the family and tried to be what they wanted me to be, tried to be accepted. That shit sucked. That shit sucked because it's like, you know, being a fucking orange and trying to put yourself, that piece of orange, and trying to put yourself in a piece of garlic. Like, you're not garlic, baby, you're an orange. So like, go be an orange. And like, this great, I don't know his name, so if you know, please tell me. There's this comedian who was like, people tell you, you know, get over it. You're still not over it. That's what people tell me so much. Oh my god, you're a mom now, get over it. How come you're not over it? And like this gentleman said, well, puzzle me this. If you were on the 36th floor of a building who had a shitty foundation, would you feel any safer? I don't think so. So, being 36, yeah, those things, like I said, they don't disrupt my life as much as they used to, but it does give you a different lens of the world. You do have these eyes that you, or this vision that maybe you didn't have if you hadn't gone through those things. It also makes you, like I said, value who you have around you. It makes you remember, like, there's no right or wrong way to heal. There's no right or wrong way to do this, right? It just is what it is. And you have to walk yourself. You have to be very patient. You have to be very loving to yourself. You have to be so patient because there is no, excuse me, ooh, healing, we're letting it out. There is no like one way to heal, right? There's not like a one pill. There's not like one specific way that is gonna like solve all your problems. Not the alcohol, not the marijuana, not anything that you pop in will help you. Even the medication, yeah, it supports to some degree, but it's not like, I don't need it. My life is not dependent off of it. Everything is just like, you know, little piece of grain. They're just little pieces that support all this sewing back of yourself that you end up having to do. You're just sewing yourself back up from all the holes people left in you, trying to, you know, really just trying to take my fucking life. Let's just be honest. Let's just be fucking real. My life. That's what people wanted, my fucking life. Because I've always had one since I was a little girl. To the people who have all my videos from when I was a little girl, please send them over. I was a dancer. I've always been a dancer. I've always been a performer. I always wanted, like, I love making people happy. I love dancing, and I love just, woo, that's my, you know, that's my thing. That's my guacamole in life, because that's when I felt more free. That's when I felt closer to God. Yeah, going to church, you know, and then until I met people who went to church, and that's for a whole nother story of abuse. I shared this today with the message of saying, I share it because it's so important for people who have been through these things to understand, like, dude, ma'am, low, young master, young miss, I swear to you, your life fucking matters so much. Like, these things happen to me, and I don't say this to dismiss myself or my experiences, but a lot of other things have happened to other people that have destroyed them, right? And the thing that we share in common is, you know, being neglected, being abused, and being put to the side as if you don't have worth or matter because you have a lot to say and a lot to express. And since in the lineage nobody took the time to sit and express, everybody was like, let's hide under the rug. We're here, be quiet, let's not talk about it. And so, yeah, I'm just here to be the disruptor, the game changer, the cycle breaker, to say, nah, that's not gonna run here. It was, you know, it was running in our lineages until it stopped with me. I'm not gonna continue this BS of being an enabler. If people want to enable that type of behavior, if people want to protect the people, the men and the children who did this to me and to other kids, because like I said, this is not just me. I'm just a story of so many stories. And yet, the only reason I've ever cared to talk, to encourage others, to be a positive influence in anybody's freaking life, to share these stories is because God, there's so many more. I'm just trying to summarize it really quick. There's so much more out there than the shit that happened to you. Like they say, a little cliche, what happened to you didn't define you, but it did fucking shape you, right? Like these things, like I said, do stay with you. And as I became a mother, it was just like, it reminded me of like, whoa, I was once a kid. I was once this age as my kids are right now. And I was treated like crap, right? I was not liked because I wasn't wanted. I can only imagine, as an estranged family member now, I can only imagine that every time my mother would look at me and my father would look at me, the guilt, the hate, the ugh they would get from me, like, you're the result of that that happened to me. I hate you. I had to carry you. And I was told that my mother cried her entire pregnancy with me. And mind you, why I'm such a I'm such a crybaby. I'm just like watching TV and I am literally water. Hey, but Pisces, as a person who has had all of this abuse and heaviness to carry, I share it now because it's not mine to carry anymore. Those people who did these behaviors, these taking advantage of women, children at such a young age, that's a them problem, and that's between you and God. And a lot of us will not get the justice that we deserve. Like, to be honest, as you can tell in the world stage, like a lot of people who go through this a lot of women, we don't ever necessarily get justice for the things that happen to us, right? But that's why I preach constantly, like, if no one's gonna make you happy and look and make sure that you're okay, God, it'd be a shame if you don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's you, baby. Like, take care of yourself, honey boo. Like, you got you. Be nice to you. It's very, very easy. I did it for so many years. I was so mean to myself because so many people were mean to me. Mind you, I had the biggest bullies. My mother was my biggest bully. My father on that same trajectory. And my siblings, let's just give them all trophies for being the biggest bullies that one could ever have. Like I said, I call them that because it helps the story, but I don't claim them because, I mean, when you value safety and people who were supposed to keep you safe do not, then you're just the story that happened to me. You were once part of my life and now you're not. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you don't know how to be a safe person. I don't know. Like, just distance. Like, that's all you can do, right? You can only distance yourself and keep your peace from people who have done massive amounts of damage. I would say a lot of other bullshit did happen to me because, this was my foundation. It led me to a lot. Like, I literally need to write a book. I'm just going to write a book, okay? Anybody else want to help me write this book? Let's go. I'm grateful for my life. I love my life. I don't have suicide ideation. Hell no. No, I don't. I used to when I didn't feel loved. But then I realized that my entire life I was looking for love. And then God's funny because God's like, joke's on you. You were always loved, little girl. You are love. You are literally the representation of me, little girl. So I will always be God's little girl. That's who I'll always be. And I'm here for all the other little girls and little boys who've been through this. I'm here as in I see you. I send you so much love for whoever's watching this and whoever's been through this. May you find God. May you find love. May you find people like who literally love you. Like, look at you and like, yeah, dude, you're a little weird and messed up, but like, come here, my little Dory. Come here, my little thing. Like, there are people who will love you, for all of you. And as a person who, and I say this because there were so many kids who I worked with through my entire life in different situations and different circumstances, kids from 0 to 99 that I worked with in whatever situation. So many people have these types of stories that were taken advantage of, that were abused. And so we're all God's children. Don't ever forget that. And Once you get into spirituality, like, it's a little bit easier to understand. I guess if you're a Pisces, if you're not, wait till wait till you get there, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. But God is good. God is great. God loves all of us. The universe, spirit, whatever you want to say. There are many types of spirits, but the great spirit that created love, that created me at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I can say that I was that person, and I have read the Bible once when I was heavily indoctrinated into Catholicism. Moving on. But those were my roots, and I've always been Jesus' homie anyway. Lost my train of thought. Catholicism. Anywho, yeah. You're gonna be okay, little pumpkin. You're gonna be okay, little bean. You're gonna be okay, person. I wish all of you peace and love at the end of the day. I do. I send you so much love. May you find God. May you find people who love you. May you find the healing. May you find the therapies. May you find may you never give up on giving to yourself, so no one else could ever be like, oh my God, I gave you this, I did that for you. No, nobody else could give you the peace that you give yourself, because only you know what feels good to you in your soul. And the world will have, like I said, opinions about what did happen to you, what didn't happen to you. Will try to protect and all these other people who did all this to you, and try to sit here and argue with you about what did and didn't happen. And at the end of the day, like, you and God know what really happened. And that's what keeps my heart at peace, that like God got my back, the universe got my back, so nothing else matters. And I hope you get to feel that one day. I've been in my healing journey for probably closer to 15 years now. May God be with you always, like always, because siempre está conmigo.